When I was a kid, my dad took me every other Saturday to Frank's Barbershop on Elm Street, a small place with a striped pole out front that never seemed to stop spinning, and the smell of shaving cream that somehow smelled like comfort, a sanctuary from the world's rough edges. Frank was in his 60s, with thick glasses that made his eyes look enormous, and a voice that always sounded like he'd been laughing just before you walked in. He knew everyone's story who was getting married, who'd lost their job, whose kid made the honor roll. His shop was the town's living diary, written not in ink, but in trims and conversations. He cut hair like it was an act of faith. "You sit down in this chair," he'd say, tucking the paper collar around your neck with a practiced flip, "and you trust someone not to make you look worse. It's a small surrender, lets the soul breathe a little." When my dad died, the rhythm of my world broke. I stopped going. I couldn't handle sitting in that same worn leather chair, staring at my own reflection in the mirror where he used to sit beside me, reading the Favok sports page and chuckling at Frank's jokes. Years later, pulled by a nostalgia I couldn't name, I walked past the shop. The striped pole had faded to a pale pink and white. The windows were dusty, but the soft yellow light from within still glowed. I peeked through the glass. Frank was there, slowly sweeping a constellation of gray and brown hair off the black and white checkered floor. His movements more deliberate now, his frame a little more stooped. He looked up, his eyes, still bright behind those lenses, meeting mine. A slow smile crinkled his face. He shuffled over and unlocked the door. "You finally need a trim, huh? Been holding out on me." I laughed, the sound strange and welcome in my own ears. "You remember me after all this time?" He grinned, a flash of the old mischief. "Kid, I remember everyone who ever cried in that chair. You were 8, lost a brick front tooth halfway through a buzz cut, cried more about the tooth than the hair." He pointed a bent finger to a spot near the leg of the chair. "It rolled right there. Took us 10 minutes to find it." I sat down. The familiar weight of the cape settled over me. He didn't say much while cutting, just the steady, rhythmic snip of the scissors and the low hum of the clippers, that same quiet, undemanding warmth filling the space between us. When he was done, he spun the chair to face the mirror and put his hands on my shoulders. "You look like your dad," he said, his voice soft but clear, except he never tipped enough. "Hope you do better." We both laughed, a sound that felt like a bridge across the years of silence. A few months later, the shop closed for good. A simple, handwritten sign was taped to the inside of the glass door. "Thanks for trusting me with your Saturdays. Keep your head high and your hair clean. Frank." I found out he'd passed in his sleep soon after. The town, feeling the loss of a cornerstone, raised money to restore the barbershop as a local landmark. They didn't reopen it for business. They preserved it as a museum of memory. They framed his favorite well-oiled scissors on the wall inside a shadow box. Now, whenever I walk by, especially on a quiet Saturday morning, I pause. I swear I can still hear him. The soft, metallic scrape of the scissors, the whisper of the bristle brush on a neck, and the low, steady voice that always, somehow, made people feel a little less messy, a little more whole than when they first walked in. Some people don't just fix what's seen. They quietly shape the parts of us that needed care the most.